Hi guys, this is gsmo.com and I'm here with the Nokia Lumia 930 for a full review. This is the current flagship that the new combo Nokia Microsoft X come up with. As you know, Microsoft has swallowed Nokia devices and services, and this is the first fruit of their cooperation. So Nokia Lumia 930 is a flagship announced at Build 2014 in April, and it was launched in stores just a few weeks ago. The price tag for this model is $800 at least in the UK on Carphone Warehouse. It comes in black, as you can see, in white, in green and orange, some of the flavors you may find it. Now let's discuss the design. First of all, this is a 5-inch phone, as you can see right here, but it's quite bulky in spite of the fact it's a small phone by current standards. It measures 9.8 millimeters in thickness, so almost 10, so pretty thick. The weight is 167 grams, and keep in mind that the Galaxy Note 3 weighs 168 grams, so it's a heavy device. The back is matte, as you can see, and very nicely finished, and we have a square design. There aren't any circular areas anywhere. It's all rectangular, or should I say angular. We have a polycarbonate back, good grip, and an aluminum band on the edges. That's best shown in the lower area and upper area, as well as the sides. So aluminum and polycarbonate come together with the glass at the front. From the profile, you can see that the back and the front are slightly, but only slightly curved, and the build quality is actually very good, and the area where the glass meets the metal sides looks very nice. It's a sort of a bit of an angle here that looks very nice. Overall, I like this design. I would say it's a charming brick because it's a very big phone, and it may appeal to you if you like big phones. Now on the front, we have the front camera, we have the earpiece, and we have these 3 Windows buttons below the display. We also have some sensors here at the top and a very small hole below the home button, probably for a microphone. At the top, we have the nano SIM card slot that's easy to remove with your fingernails. If you have the fingernails that are long enough, you simply have to insert your nail in the special space that's open right next to the nano SIM slot, and here we go. Finally, you don't have to use that pesky little key that people always lose. And then we have the audio jack next to it, and that's all the upper side. On the right side, we have the buttons, these 3 buttons right here. We have the big button with volume up and volume down. We have the middle button, that's the on-off button, and finally we have the camera button right here. At the bottom comes the micro USB port here, and by the way, back to the buttons, they offer good feedback, and they're actually comfy to use. Finally, at the back side, we got the camera, we got another microphone here at the top, we have the dual LED flash, and we have the speaker right here, plus the logo. Overall, it's a nice design, but only if you like premium bricks that combine polycarbonate, glass and metal. Now, as far as the hardware goes, the display is a 5-inch Full HD AMOLED with Gorilla Glass 3 protection and clear black technology. The CPU is a quad-core Snapdragon 800 clocked at 2.2 GHz. We also have an Adreno 330 GPU inside, and by the way, the storage is 32 GB and there's no microSD card slot, and RAM is 2 GB. The camera at the back, well, it's a 20 megapixel shooter, and with the one at the front, it's a 1.2 megapixel cam. On the connectivity side, there's a ton of things to mention. So first of all, we have a nano SIM card slot, we have a GPS, we have HSDPA with a download speed of 42 MB per second, LTE, Wi-Fi dual band, DLNA, Bluetooth 4.0, NFC and micro USB 2.0. In the section and others, we got Dolby audio, an accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity sensor, compass and FM radio. We didn't forget about the battery. There's a lithium-ion unit inside, 2420 mAh, and we also have screenshots that show you the evolution of the battery. Okay, so as I said, lithium-ion unit, 2420 mAh. On paper, this battery provides 432 hours of standby, 15 hours of talk time or 75 hours of music. Our test involves, as usual, HD video playback that starts the battery at 100% with Wi-Fi on and brightness of 50%, in this case on medium, and we achieved 7 hours on point. So we started at 3:37 with the battery at 99%, we played back a video, and we ended up at 10:37 with 4%, so as I said, about 7 hours of HD video playback. In the meantime, the iPhone 5s and Galaxy S5 score 11 hours, and the Nexus 5, for example, scores 5 hours, so we're in between them. It's not exactly flagship material, those 7 hours, but it's a so-so performance from this 5-inch phone. The charging takes about 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is pretty okay. We also have a battery saver. Go to the settings, or you can look it up in the app area, no problem. Here it is, battery saver. It can show you the app usage, shows you what apps have used your battery recently, and you can select if you want to run them in the background or not. And then we got the power saver mode, battery saver, that has the following option: conserve battery life when the battery is low, now until the next charge, or always, which kind of limits the device's functionality. There's also an estimation of the time remaining for use and the time since last charge. Overall, I would call this battery okay-ish. As I said, 7 hours. It may not be the disappointing Nexus 5, but it also not the Galaxy S5 and its huge 11 hours. So 7 hours of HD playback. Now on the audio side, as you probably know, Windows Phone 8.1 brings a separation of the music app and video app, and the music app is right here. I'm talking about Xbox Music, obviously, and this device did not come with headphones bundled in the package, but it does come with Dolby Digital Plus technology. Finally, in Xbox Music, you can go to a song, play it, and move it forward and backward to listen to it. Till now you had to keep pressed the fast forward button to reach a certain part of the song. Now you can scroll through it if you want, which is kind of cool. Okay, so you can also organize your music in a smart way by songs, genres, playlists. Got a radio section, artists, albums, and once again songs. Okay, now let's actually listen to a tune. The speaker is right here. Okay, now let's draw some conclusions. First things first, you can actually go to top music, you can buy songs if you want to, see which are the top albums, what people are listening to, and as far as the acoustics are concerned, we have very loud volume, I have to say that, pretty nice bass and a full sound, but the percussions are just a slightly bit exaggerated. Now if you go to the settings area, also regarding the audio, let's find it. So it's called audio, equalizer and enhancements, and the equalizer has a bunch of presets, a lot of them actually. It includes custom, bass boost, bass cut, vocal boost, vocal cut, treble, loudness, and then come the genres: acoustic, classical, dance, electronic, hip hop, and even speech. If you select custom, you can actually tweak those yourself. If you select none, there's nothing to worry about. Then there's the enhancement. We got Dolby Virtual Surround that will basically offer you 5.1 surround when you're listening to headphones. We have Dolby Audio Leveling that provides the same volume for all the tracks, and Dolby Dialogue Enhancer specifically created for the dialogue in the movies. Finally, we have Flip to Silence. Since we're here, I must mention that I did try out a pair of headphones with this device, and I found the experience to be very good volume, very good bass, and we also have FM radio available here. Here it is, FM radio, obviously requiring a pair of headphones and offering you the option to switch to speaker if you want to hear radio better. We even tested the decibel level on this model. We have a decibel meter and let's check it out. Okay, so this is the decibel meter facing the front of the phone. We achieved 87.3 decibels, and the back of the phone where the speaker is gave us 89 decibels, which is a new record from our test so far. Since we bought the decibel meter, is the highest level we achieved. So very strong volume, pretty good bass, but the percussions are a bit too strong, plus some people may regret the lack of headphones. Now as far as the display is concerned, we have a 5-inch Super AMOLED clear black Full HD screen. It has deep blacks. It's a very bright screen. You can notice that from the start. It's very good in sunlight and it has good contrast. Some people have been complaining about a special purple tint. Well, I haven't seen it so far, but in case you have that problem, you can simply go to the specialized app that Nokia has included here and tweak your experience to get rid of that. Okay, now the video player is here. It's Xbox Video. It has been separated from the music app, but just like the music app, it allows you to buy stuff like TV shows or movies. And now let's see one of our typical samples for testing screens. You can see right from the start that we're dealing with a bit of oversaturation. However, viewing angles are good. As you can see, they're not IPS good, but still, they're pretty good. The screen is bright and crisp. The options here include the typical subtitles, repeat and caption settings. And let's view one more of these samples. This one, also used by us in a lot of reviews. Very minimalistic video player. By the way, the pixels are of the pentile matrix kind, and we checked them out on a microscope, which you'll see very soon. As I said, slight oversaturation, good viewing angles, bright and crisp, and now I promised you some pixels. Here we go, pentile matrix under the microscope, and now let's go to the lux level. This is it, this is our lux meter. We achieved 420 lux units, which is very okay, considering the Sony Xperia Z2 flagship has 366 lux units, but the HTC One M8 has 463 and the Galaxy S5 has a huge 480 lux. In spite of that, this is a very bright screen. We're right now on the medium setting, and I frankly don't feel the need to go up to high, I mean like ever. No matter the game, no matter the movie, I never went up to high because I don't need it. Medium is just fine. So that's how bright the screen is. And now in the settings area, I told you, you can solve the purple hue thing from here. So we have a bunch of settings that deal with the screen. Those include ease of access. Maybe in the future, Microsoft will solve the problem with all those settings. Okay, so ease of access deals with the text. You can increase text size, you can set high contrast on, narrator and a screen magnifier. And then we move to the section called display. This is where the action is. So we have a sunlight readability option that serves the device well. We have battery saver brightness that reduces screen brightness when the battery saver is active, and color profile. So we got a bunch of sample pictures here. We have standard, vivid for people who like more saturation, cool for cooler colors, and advanced so you can tweak your own experience. You can play with a cooler hue or warmer temperature, mess with the tint, more purple, more green, and play with color saturation as you want. And then you can return to standard or whatever suits your needs. Finally, there is a brightness profile, also with sliders, also with images. You can increase the low level and the medium level and the high level as you pleased, and you can reset the settings if you want. So a lot of customization for this screen. If people have problems with oversaturation or a special tint, they can solve it from the software. In conclusion, I would say that this is an excellent display. I really found absolutely no problem with it. I'm very happy with the brightness, with the viewing angles and colors, and everything is crisp. Now the camera, this is the area where I have a lot to babble about. It's a 20 megapixel Pureview shooter with Carl Zeiss optics, f2.4 aperture, BSI, and the sensor measures about 1/2 inch or so. We have a dual LED flash, optical image stabilization, and a 6-element lens. The pixels here in the pictures measure 1.12 microns, and the minimum focus range for macros is about 10 centimeters. Got our castle right here, and we're about to play ball with the Nokia camera application. Okay, the interface here, well, there are two types of interfaces you can play with. This one is the interface from Nokia Camera, and then there's the standard Windows Phone 8.1 interface. I'm going to start off with the Nokia Camera interface. On the left side, there's a shortcut to the gallery area. And next up, we have the top options that are shown here. You can press either one of them to interact with them, or instead of doing that, you drag the shutter and trigger them as semi-circles. This one is the more elaborate mode. This is the auto mode with everything left on auto for non-professional photo takers, while this one allows you customization. So let's see actually what these options are. The first one is exposure, then we got the shutter time, so you can catch even the slightest motion as it happens. Of course, you can also set everything on auto. We have ISO up to 4000, and we have focus, manual, infinity or auto, and white balance, all of them available as sliders here. And then we got the camera button here that can be pressed in a two-step motion. So the first step allows you to focus and trigger the flash, and the second step takes the picture. Okay, now the options per se. We have lenses that can be downloaded from the Windows Phone store. Those include the Cinematograph that helps you create GIFs. We got refocus that you can play with a lot. We have Office Lens, which is a relatively new addition. It allows you to take pictures of certain elements like notes or screens, and it serves your office needs. It's sort of like a scanner replacement if you want, but I'll get back to that later. Now let's get to the lenses and discuss them a little more. Okay, so as I said, Cinematograph helps you create a GIF. We got refocus, we have Fine, we got Camera, which is the basic camera app, and Panorama with its obvious needs. Now let's see refocus, because it's a very talked about application and feature. Okay, so refocus allows you to take a series of shots and then you can focus what you like in them. So let's use a finger and the castle. And a series of shots has been taken, and now I can choose what to focus. I can make the colors pop, I can share my shot, I can set everything in focus. I can either focus on the castle or on the finger, depending on the subject I want to focus on. And we have color pop, so you can only choose one of the colors to show, the other ones not. Imagine you're capturing pictures of balloons, some of them with various colors. I can also set all in focus. I can share my pictures, I can view a tutorial, and that's basically what the famous refocus is all about. Okay, now back to the options. There's a ton of them. Shortcut to front-facing camera, there's the timer, obviously, and bracketing. Well, as you know, Windows Phone devices do not have HDR. This is the next best thing. It takes a bunch of shots with varied exposure ranges, so about 5 pictures, each one with a different exposure, and this serves your HDR needs. Let's go back to the photo taking experience, see more options, and this is the area where we reach settings. In the settings area, you can set focus assist light, set by flash, auto, or always on. There is the framing grid, the aspect ratio, 4:3 or 16:9. In 4:3 you can take 19 megapixel shots, 16:9 only 60 megapixel shots, and the capture mode. You can either take a quick JPEG, a 5 megapixel JPEG, or take two shots, a 5 megapixel JPEG and a bigger picture, 60 megapixel, and the final option, you can create a raw shot that has a very good quality and takes up about 20 megabytes of space. And finally, there are the living images, which basically make your photos come to life in the gallery, especially if you create GIFs or other sorts of pictures that actually animate. In the video area, we have the options that include the lenses, front facing, and settings, obviously, framing grids, various resolutions and frame rates, 1080p 30 frames, 25 frames and 24, and the same frames at 720p. Directional stereo, surround sound with even 5.1 enabled, very good for concerts, and finally audio bass filter. So those are the options available for video. One last option, smart sequence. This one is basically a series of shots and you select what happens to them afterwards. So let's actually move around the camera a little bit. This is one of the shots that could be played in the gallery with those vivid images and moved around. And after you take it and access the gallery, you can choose what happens to it. It includes options like best shot, change faces, remove moving objects, and action shot. So you can tweak what's happening here, various movement patterns, and motion focus, so you can create a slight bit of blur around your moving image, or you can simply want to delete it if you don't like it. Okay, now that we've seen the Nokia camera application, let's have a go at the standard Windows Phone 8.1 camera app. This one you probably know if you've seen our review of the Windows Phone 8.1 preview. So we got 5 shortcuts here, customizable obviously. We got the shutter button here, we got a burst mode here, and video capture here, plus back to this area. Okay, so the 5 shortcuts can be customized here with options like camera roll, resolution, lens speaker, front rear camera, flash, scenes, ISO, exposure, and white balance. Then there are the photo settings including flash, tap to take photo, keep unsaved bursts for a number of days, scenes. These options were not available in the Nokia camera, so they're welcome here. ISO going up to 3200 this time, not 4000 like the previous app. Aspect ratio for burst shots, and focus assist light. For the video settings we have white balance and video mode, so much less settings than the other mode. Now let's actually take a picture here. I'm going to use the Nokia camera application, and I'm also going to set it on auto, not the professional mode, so we can actually take a decent picture. We focus and then we shoot, and then the magic happens. This is the shot I've just taken, an impressive level of detail. It's written brand Castle here, and as you can see, a very impressive level of detail from this Pureview camera. As you saw earlier, this camera actually takes 2 pictures, one that's easy to share on social networks and another one that's huge, maybe even a raw file that's kept in the memory and shown to people in reviews and stuff like that. Now let's put this aside and let me show you the hundreds of pictures I've taken with this camera in various occurrences in order to test it. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. We got this shot here. I have to say that the Nokia Lumia 930 is actually slower than the Lumia 925 when it takes pictures. It also doesn't focus as well when it comes to macro at the Lumia 925, but I did manage to achieve some pretty good macros, I have to say that, in spite of the harder focusing on them. The slow picture taking may be caused by the fact that the camera takes 2 shots sometimes, as I said, a 5 megapixel shot and a 16 megapixel, and even a raw shot at times. That's why it takes so long to focus and so long to take pictures. Macros are superb, and these shots right here are some of the best I've taken. This one here is actually gorgeous. It's wallpaper worthy, if I can say that. And there's more where that came from. So you can create some very nice macros with this phone. Sometimes pictures are oversaturated, but usually images are very crisp. We have good contrast, good exposure, and this is a half of a panorama. The panorama is not very wide, I was actually shocked by that. We also have lossless zoom. We have a picture of a flag here somewhere. I just told you, a lot of shots to play with. Okay, so this is the regular picture of flags and zoomed in picture of flags, and lossless zoom is where it's at. The pictures are excellent, and you can select for some of them to be open in Nokia camera for some minor editing and a highlight of their features. So if you choose this one, for example, and you press open in Nokia camera, you can do some very fast editing. So you can revert, you can do some more framing, you can change the aspect ratio, you can rotate, zoom in, and this is where the lossless zoom should come in, and the picture should look nice even when zoomed in. Everything is perfect here aside from the distance shots. I noticed that when you take pictures in the distance, they're not that good, so the macros are excellent, but the distance shots not so much. This is an example of distance shot, that's not exactly impressive. And I even took pictures of night to see how this device handled pressure. That's the time when the cameras are most tested, and I have to say it handled the test pretty well. The flash actually makes wonders here. So keep in mind, this is a photograph taken at night, in the middle of the night, at 12 AM in the night, and still beautiful flower. Yet again, once again, in the middle of the night with the flash, totally impressive. And even the pictures without a flash, they don't have that yellowish hue that many flagship phones face when they don't have the flash available. So overall, I would say that the picture taking is very impressive. However, the picture taking time is not impressive if you compare it to the Nokia Lumia 925, and neither is the focus or the distance shots. There were times when I was actually reminded about the performance of the Sony Xperia Z2 that has an excellent video and photo capture at night, and this model is on par with it, if not even better. Okay, now the videos. I took these videos on a cloudy day, especially the first one, and you'll notice that in spite of that, I would say it's pretty good. The wind was blowing, and if you notice a slight bit of flickering, that's because the focus is lost sometimes. Other than that, we have crisp images, realistic colors, good white balance and exposure. And when you zoom in, there is not a great loss of detail, which is a good thing. And now let's try another video. Let's try this one here, where there's another bit of zoom going on. As you can see, we're not losing quality even when zooming in. And I even tried to test the stabilization of the device, since Nokia praised its stabilization abilities. Optical image stabilization, go. In spite of walking pretty abruptly in a slope, I would say the stabilization is handling the process quite well. It tends to lose focus a little bit, but overall I would say the stabilization is just fine. These files I'm showing you here, the videos, are MP4s with a 20 megapixel bitrate, and even the night filming is okay. By the way, you can also open your apps in Nokia Camera, and I mean videos. You can trim them with a special Nokia trimmer if you download it from the store. And we move further. I also taken some videos at night, obviously, and just like the photos, they're reasonably impressive. I would say the night filming is only okay, there is no yellowish hue, and the flash once again does wonders, especially in close-ups in the dark. Okay, and one more video at night. Here we go. This one is taken without the flash, if I'm not mistaken, and still doesn't create that annoying yellowish hue that many models do. Overall, this is a very good camera. It's not a huge jump from the Nokia Lumia 925. The Xperia Z2 is a bit better in some areas, like the distance shots and the video capture, but overall this model is a very solid Pureview shooter, and the Galaxy S5, as you probably saw in other comparisons, beats it in some shots, but the macros are fantastic. The night shots also look nice, so I will have to say I'm pretty impressed here. In case you're wondering what's happening with this picture right here, I took the shutter level to the lowest level and caught the pellets of a fan moving. So if you want to catch something like a raindrop falling, or the pellets of a fan moving, you play with the shutter options and that's what you get. As I said, an excellent camera, but if you have an older Nokia Lumia like the 925, stay with it because this is not a huge improvement over that. Now let's discuss performance, and I'm going to start with the temperature. So we achieved 45.9 degrees Celsius after playing 15 minutes of Asphalt 8, which means we're facing a bit of a problem with overheating. Now let's see how the browser can handle a little browsing sequence, and let's access gsunknown.com. Here we go. As expected, usually from the mobile version of Internet Explorer, everything moves very fast, it loaded instantly, and our website is displayed excellently as shown right here. Aside from that, since this is Windows Phone 8.1 we're talking about, we get some features here, including the ability to open up a brand new in private tab and other options. So here you can have a new in private tab if you want. You can also keep browsing, so if you had a certain website open on your Windows 8 tablet with the same account, you can keep the same session. I want to also discuss the keyboard. This is it. We got that word flow thing going on, so you can type simply by swiping around letters, and it's actually very fast. I just wrote tablet, now let's write phone. Also very fast and very intuitive. So fast web browsing and fast keyboard, both two very good aspects. As I said, this model runs Windows Phone 8.1, which means it gets the action center right here at the top. We have notifications and these shortcuts at the top, these toggles for connectivity and other such options. I already reviewed Windows Phone 8.1 in a previous video, you know that, so not much has changed here. We obviously have Cortana available on this device, and once you start it up, it will tell you the top stories for today, the latest news in the area that interest you. It can listen to a song and tell you what song is playing. You can tweak interests, daily glance, eat and drink. You can set her to remind you certain things, and I said her because Cortana is the AI in Halo, a female character. We have quiet hours, we have inner circle, and all the options you're familiar with. So what's the weather like? Okay, and voice recognition is very good in Cortana and also works very fast, a very solid driver for Siri and Google Now. As far as multitasking goes, you can use an X to close apps now, among the changes brought by the latest version of the OS. And as you can see, I changed the wallpaper and I'm using transparent tiles, yet another new feature brought on by Windows Phone 8.1. You can see through my people tiles, store tile, transfer my data tile. You can see that beautiful yellow flower in the background. Now, as far as the actual phone calling is concerned, you got speed dial, you got your usual dialer, and I have to say that this handset offers a very loud and very crisp calling experience and also a very good signal. Now, inevitably, we have reached the area of benchmarks, and let's go to the screenshots. I actually took a lot of them. So first of all, we got Antutu, here it is, and the score we achieved here is 25,375. We got beaten by the Sony Xperia Z1, for example, with its 34,440, and we also beat the Nokia Lumia 1520 by 1,000 points. So once again, we achieved 25,375. The Xperia Z1 beat us, but the Nokia Lumia 1520 didn't, because its score was lower. In case you're wondering why the Xperia Z1, it's a camera phone, it has the same processor, so it's wise to compare them. We moved to Multibench 2. Here we scored the CPU benchmark score of 30.555, data transfer 41, memory bench 06, and graphics bench 46. This may not mean much to you, but we got here a bunch of graphs, and basically we're getting about a double score in the CPU area compared to the Nokia Lumia 1020. We're also doubling the score in the area of storage. As you can see in this graph here, the red bar is associated with the Nokia Lumia 930, so it scores higher than the other Windows Phone models. In the memory area, once again, higher. In the graphics, things are closer, and we move further to another benchmark. This is phone mark, as far as you know, with these scores right here, and also comparison. Some of the devices that are tested in this benchmark, and this is our phone. We scored 1,892 points in the overall test, and this is the memory test, where we scored the same as the Nokia Lumia 1520, 1428 points. Now let's see the CPU test. Here we have 2018 points. We beat the Nokia Lumia 1520 by about 16 points, and we barely beat the Nokia Lumia 929. And there is also a comparison on the graphics. We scored 2260, and there are models that scored above us. And in the memory area, we're pretty much equal to the Nokia Lumia 1520. I also did a speed test, here it is, 19 megapixel in download, 16 in upload. I would say we're doing pretty well, although the upload speed is kind of small compared to what I'm used to when testing such devices. Finally, WP bench, 523 points here, while the Nokia Lumia 1520 scores 441, so we beat it, and the Nokia Lumia 1020 only 223, so we totally beat it by 300 points. Okay, so we continue further. We got browser mark 2.1. Here the Nokia Lumia 930 scored 829 points. Meanwhile, the LG G3, for example, scores 1187, and another handset I tested recently, AllView X2 Soul, 818, so we beat it. Finally, SunSpider, the lower the better. We have 514 points. As I said, lower is better, and the Nokia Lumia 1020 has 900 points, so we beat it, and the Nokia Lumia 1520 558, so once again we beat it. This model pretty much beats any other Windows Phone device right now in most of the benchmarks, and now that we're done with performance testing, let's discuss settings just a little bit. As usual, the settings area is huge, there's a lot of stuff to scroll through and a lot of options to play with, but I'll only handle those that are more, so to say, unusual. This is the notification and actions area. You can actually choose your quick actions here at the top and turn notification on or off for certain apps. Then there's Wi-Fi here with the Wi-Fi Sense feature, allowing you to quickly connect to Wi-Fi hotspots and to edit other info related to that. And let's see what else. We have obviously the airplane mode, and we have a feature called project screen. Here you go, you can project the image on the screen to a TV, monitor or projector, which is a pretty advanced feature for an OS that was pretty rudimentary a few versions ago. We also have the Find My Phone feature. If you lose it, you activate this tracker and you can have the phone ring, lock, erase or send apps to your phone through a special solution. We also have a driving mode that can be set up here, so you actually don't have to take your eyes off the road and off the wheel while driving. Okay, then we got quiet hours. That's actually used in tandem with Cortana, for example. You can turn it on right now and Cortana will handle your calls and texts. It will automatically either tell people you're busy or send a text with that purpose. Then we got options for touch. Here we go. Touch sensitivity can be set to high or normal. You can set the phone to wake up if you double tap the screen, and you can set the navigation bar to vibrate with certain keys. Then we got the call and SMS filter, which pretty much does what it says, it blocks certain numbers. And finally, let's see what else. We have a device hub that connects and manages your devices. As far as I know, you can also manage a printer or things like that. And the last interesting feature here is motion data. It connects motion data for fitness tracker and other similar purposes. Very useful if you want to do some fitness using this phone. Okay, now is that time of the review where we analyzed the pre-installed apps and the most interesting apps that can be installed on this phone. As usual, I tend to show you a lot of similar things on Windows phones. I will not stop on the similar here maps and office experiences because I have already reviewed a ton of devices like that and nothing has changed in the office area or the here area. So let's see the unusual apps. Let's see, we got first of all food and drink coming straight out of Bing with recipes, suggestions and news. Very nice interface. Okay, then we got games. Usually back in the older Windows Phone versions you had to go here to find your games, but now they're integrated into the app list. And we got health and fitness. That was actually a pleasant surprise for me. At first you'll see some nutritional advices, some stuff related to calories and food that you eat. Then you go to the fitness and you'll notice that there is a counter here. It's counting your steps, it's counting your calories. You can see your steps details, an analysis, a graph, and you can actually monitor your training using GPS if you're running and other things like that. You can also add an exercise, look it up and search for calories. So Bing Health and Fitness was actually a source of news and information, and now it turned into a fitness monitor, which is kind of cool. It counts your steps and has health vault syncing. And now we move further to the here section. I told you I wasn't going to insist on them too much, so here we go. So first things first, we got here drive plus here. guiding you around, settings, voice guidance, navigation voice, speed limit, all sorts of warnings, a beautiful 3D interface, very crisp and fast. You can download maps offline and you don't need a Wi-Fi signal for it. Okay, and then there's here maps. Not much has changed here either. Points of interests all the way, options like pedestrian, public transport or traffics, satellite options, directions, and interesting places nearby. A ton of them. Even pharmacies has been included. The last time I tested the device with Windows Phone, it didn't have pharmacies. Well, now it does for some reason. Okay, we move further to Nokia Camera that you already know, Cinemagraph that creates GIFs, and Nokia Creative Studio. You may already know this app, but let's see some of its options. So suppose you pick a picture, then you have some options to play with it. You can rotate it, crop it, frame it better. Then you can play with some filters. This one, or this one, black and white, nightlife, black and white strong. And then some special settings, shadows, brightness, clarity, temperature, vibrance. And finally you can add some cool effects like tilt shift, circular, or manual if you want to mess with the picture. You got color pop, save as a copy, and that's pretty much all the alternation that you can do to a picture. Okay, we also have something interesting. It's called Nokia Storyteller. Basically it should work like Zoe pretty much. So we have a timeline of pictures. Those are all the pictures I've taken so far, and you can see them by places. You can also select a group of favorites and you can see them by story videos. So a story is basically just like a Zoe, and it creates a special videos of the things you've been doing lately. Here we go. This is Storyteller again. And that's the timeline. You can see it divided by areas where you've been. If you tap one big square, that's an area of the town you've been, and this is a story video. It gathers all of these pictures and videos and turns them into this clip here. You can split the story, delete it, or edit it. You get all your pictures, videos, and a cute little music in the background, just like Zoe does on HTC. Okay, and you can also edit it if you want, change the music, change the photos, or randomize. So that's what the famous Storyteller is all about. Next up, we got Nokia Video Trimmer that I actually showed you earlier. So we got a video here, and you have this selection option here, so you can trim the video fast, press save, and that's that. Very intuitive. Then we got your usual Office experience. As far as I know, nothing has been updated here. It's the same experience as before. Although we have a new Windows, we don't exactly get new options in Office. At least Microsoft and Nokia didn't announce them, so no new stuff here. We do have something called Office Lens, which is a pretty cool feature. You can use it to take pictures of documents, of classes on notebook or whiteboards. And I actually took a picture of a document and it looks very nice. It's handwritten, as you can see here, and it actually improves the image so you can read better. That's what Office Lens is all about. Then we got the usual OneDrive, OneNote, and by the way, the photos you take to documents are saved in OneNote. We got podcasts and Skype, and finally the store where you can download your apps, including those from the Nokia collection. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The app list concludes the review of the device, and now it's time for the verdict. On the Pro side, we have an excellent nighttime capture from this camera. We have premium materials like aluminum on the side, a beautiful glass on the front, and polycarbonate at the back. Very good audio quality from this little speaker. Also Dolby features and a good equalizer. A good display. I actually don't have anything to say bad about this screen. It's very bright, nice viewing angles, deep blacks. We can create raw pictures, which is not something you can say about many camera phones nowadays. We can also take good macro shots. We have good hardware inside. This is the best handset with Windows Phone of all models when it comes to benchmarks, and there are lots of camera features to play with, and also good optical image stabilization. As I said, lots of features to play with in both Nokia Camera and the standard app. On the cons side, we do have cons. Well, the battery could be just a little bit better. This is actually not a big update from Nokia Lumia 925, so if you have that phone, you don't need to buy this one. The capture is kind of slow when taking pictures. There are minor focus problems, sometimes, and this model is massive, it's thick, and it's quite heavy considering its diagonal. It also tends to overheat just a little bit, and that app list thing is a bit annoying. I think that Microsoft should come up with something new, because keeping scrolling like this is a pretty annoying thing, and also doing the same thing in the settings area is annoying. So they must solve the list problems. Also, there are not headphones bundled with this device. And now let's give it some grades. The Nokia Lumia 930 gets an 8.5 out of 10 for design, a solid 9.4 out of 10 for the hardware, and a 9.1 out of 10 for OS and UI. The final grade is 9 out of 10 for the Nokia Lumia 930. If you have a Nokia Lumia 925 or even a 1520, you don't need this model. Also, if you have the Sony Xperia Z2, yet again, you don't need this camera phone. However, if you want pro photo features and the latest Windows Phone in a premium brick package, as I said, because it's very thick and heavy, you may want to purchase this device. The final grade at gsn1.com is 9 out of 10. That's it, folks. Hope you like this review of this camera phone, premium brick, however, pro camera features. Bye bye.